you don't like to talk to get rid of your stress because you don't like strings, you don't like talking, or you don't have any money to invest. Well, then this tool is one heck of a killer for you. My name is Matthijs and today I'm your injured dumbass, showing you what TRE is and why it can immensely help you to get rid of stress, depression, anxiety, traumas that you stored up in your fascia along the way, and just get it out. So you can become zen, stress-free and relaxed. In my case, it also helped to breathe better, to sleep more easily, and just to be more happy overall and be more present. And why would you want to hear my advice? I've seen 14 physiotherapists, a chiropractor, a podiatrist, I had a knee surgery, and that's over the last 7 years. And then I just became really depressed and I got out after a year being helped by somebody who practiced PDTR, and he fixed my knee stabilization in 2 hours, what all the other professionals could not fix. And I was like, holy shit, I've got to know more about this and I will never test regular stuff again. So then I named myself Injured Dumbass and I started testing the unknown things like TRE. So I tested this tool for over a year and I got really great results. So I interviewed the father, the creator of tension and trauma release exercise myself, David Berceli, and I got to a workshop in Amsterdam with the Dutch TRE organization and David Berceli. And I believe the world can live in optimal health, injury-free, if we all just experiment a bit more with the unknown.
Step forward.
Let's go!
And with that being said, this is absolutely one of my favorite tools to get rid of stress. So let's dive into TRE.
What is TRE?
Okay. Alrighty. So it very simply put, TRE is a series of exercises that activates a mild shaking in the body. It's the same type of shaking you get when you're frightened, as an example. If you're afraid and you start to shake, or if you're excited, you go, oh my God, I just won lottery. Oh my God, I can't believe it, I'm shaking.
Right.
That shaking is the nervous system taking a high charge of excitement
And bringing it down.
and starting to reduce it. So it's really called a down-regulating mechanism built into the nervous system that when you get too charged, the body knows how to discharge it.
Right.
So we're going to watch a video. This is an animal, and so basically biologists were studying this again in the 1980s, coming to understand the way that animals discharge stress. And so this example of a polar bear, scientists are tracking it in a helicopter. They're going to shoot it with a tranquilizer gun. Don't worry, they're not shooting it with bullets. And they're doing it, some study about migration patterns or something like that. And then they know from experience that after, when they watch the bear long enough, they're going to observe this trembling, shaking physiological process. And so they talk a little bit about it. So we're going to see a live example of a mammal discharging, meaning down-regulating their nervous system after a highly stressful event.
Here, oh yeah, another pretty big bear. Another 8cc, or do you think, Dennis?
Bears in sort of fight or flight mode, you know, interpreting the helicopter as a would-be attacker. Clearly a high sympathetic arousal sort of stress response going on. So here now watch. So the
If you
bear...
watch that animal after he finishes convulsing, You'll see, because he's aware of the fact that we're all around him. And it's
So
a very
full body
stressful
sort of
experience
shaking
for an animal like
process.
a
You see his
polar bear.
arms
And
involved,
after he
even
settles down,
throat
then he'll
and
start
jaw.
doing a couple of deep breaths, and then he'll breathe really nicely, and it'll really.
And then watch his diaphragm area here. You can take a couple nice full breaths.
See how he's breathing there now? You see, so even though it looks a little unpleasant, it goes like that. In fact, it lets off all that stress, and he then is able to relax and sleep the thing off.
So biologists were studying the way that animals had that process happen, and so then that understanding was sort of transferred into human therapeutic work. Basically, there's nothing different biologically about human beings. If we have that shaking process happen, the question was, would it have some of the same effectiveness towards downregulating the nervous system? So that's what this therapy method and others that are like it are based on.
And us humans are capable of bringing our nervous system down as well. Like the bear you saw in the video. We are capable of shaking our stress out of our system as well. But the thing is, we have social values, so it's things that are normal. Not showing your expression, your emotion. When you cry, you hide your face because people may think something about you, your emotion, and now judge you because you're having that emotion on that time. But you store it in your body, crying or anger in your jaw, stress in your neck. You have coping mechanisms for keeping the emotion to yourself and not showing it to the rest of the world. And this is the last part from the TRE coach that I want to show you about the brain, because we developed a new part of the brain where we can reason. So we're reasoning our bullshit away because it's not socially accepted to show this emotion on this given time in this social environment. So, TRE coach again. And I highly advise you to check out this whole video and go along with his flow, and because he goes really into the theory of TRE, and he also is showing you the TRE process with another person while explaining. It's awesome. All right, brain part.
The science or the neuroscience that underpins this work. I talked before about it being a body-brain type of process. Sort of the classical sort of understanding of our brain development is that, you know, we started the number 3 there, the rational sort of human brain neocortex. That's kind of our thinking, self-conscious, quote-unquote human brain. That is the most recent thing to develop in our history. The midbrain or limbic system, sometimes called the mammalian brain, is where emotion is processed, memory is stored, things like that. And then the deepest layer in the brain, or the lowest one, the quote-unquote reptilian brain, because it's the oldest structure, evolutionary. And that has to do more with survival, fear, and then it's missing just basically the connection to body processes. So if we go into a fight or flight mode, or even a stress, or I'm up here giving a talk, I have to get more energy to my system, and so my heart rate's going to go up, my breathing's, because I'm doing something. And that's controlled for that portion of the brain. So this process, this shaking, tremoring process that we're using as our release mechanism, occurs at that level of the brain.
So when I watched this video, this webinar, this awesome knowledge, I started experimenting with it. The third time I did it, I just locked the room, made it dark, put on some Skyrim atmosphere music, and I was just going with the flow, you know, the tremoring, the shaking, and after 30 minutes, my belly was making the movements, or like I was going for a cry. But emotionally, I had absolutely no feeling of sadness. Like none, absolutely none. But my body was, you know, making me cry. So now I was like, all right, fuck it, just go with the flow. So I started crying, real deep cry. And after a couple of minutes of crying, I had to laugh. And after laughing, I was really sad, and then I felt anxiety, and then I went back to crying, and that just kept going on and on and on. And after 30 minutes, everything was gone. in my mind, my body was going from this to this. And I can see my skin rise, I don't know the English name, chicken skin or something like that. Chicken pox, I don't know. But I was so incredibly empty, I was so incredibly zen. I had one of the best sleeps of my night that evening. And every time I felt something that had to do with stress, I would be so aware of the place where my body was putting the tension, and how I was able to relieve it when I thought of my jaw, when I thought of my shoulder, when I thought of my diaphragm. You control the tremor process from that moment on when you go fully in. And I also experimented with weed and doing it then. And then my face would make all kinds of expressions, and yeah, it's really strange, but you feel so incredibly zen afterwards. So these are my pros and cons with TRE. Let's start with the cons. Number 1, it does not help you with new coping mechanisms, which means you can get out the stress, but if you do not learn to cope in a different way and during the stress, you'll just keep going back. Number 2, it does not give you a huge benefit biomechanically. That means you will not sprint enormously better, you will not punch much better, you will not get much better posture, because that goes much deeper than just releasing some tension on this level. Breathing, it went a lot better because my diaphragm was stuck, so it helps biomechanically, but not the way functional patterns helps you. Example. Number 3, you have no idea what kind of traumas you stored all inside. And that goes from being a baby, child, to being a grown-up. So it's very wise to see a TRE practitioner, especially when you are suffering from depression, when you have PTSD or other mental stuff on your mind. Then the pros. You do not have to speak or talk about your feelings. Number 2, you start the shaking and tremoring process, hold on to it long enough, and then the emotions and traumas can relieve themselves. Number 3, you get awesome sleep after doing it. Number 4, you get incredibly zen after doing it. Number 5, you get much better self-awareness after doing it a couple of times, meaning that you feel what is happening to yourself much more easily. Number 6, you become aware of stress, your environment much more, and now you know how to get rid of it. Conclusion. Big biomechanical issues are not getting fixed. You could check functional patterns in that case. You won't learn new coping mechanisms. Read Cognitive Rampage, written by Adam Lowry, or check his podcast or YouTube channel in that case. But I still highly recommend TRE because it is just an awesome, simple tool to relieve stress. And next to the Wim Hof method and doing myofascial release, it is just simple and awesome and incredibly effective, and it helped thousands of people. So I'm very curious what your big aha moment was during this video, and please leave it down below in the comments and share this knowledge with people you know who could really benefit from this. That way you get to learn it twice, like Jim Quick says. And if you're very interested in new therapies, techniques, interviews with experts, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. So hit the like, the bell, the subscription, all that YouTube shit, and stay posted, stay noted on new knowledge and inspiration. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.